I'm Eric Nestler. I'm Dean for Academic and Scientific Affairs. I also direct the Friedman Brain Institute at Mount Sinai. Yes, absolutely. We have a week of very exciting activities. We have what we call Morning Minds. This is geared toward elementary school students, where our young brainiacs can learn about the brain and understand a little bit about how the brain works. And then later in the days, we'll have brain dissections. This is meant for older students, middle school and high school students, actually seeing what animal brains look like, what a human brain looks like, and actually having someone dissect the brain for the students so that the students get to see what's inside the brain as you open it up for display. We then have what we call Mythbusters. This is just teaching everybody of all ages, as I say, children from 2 to 92, about how the brain works, trying to address some of the main aspects of the brain, some of the misconceptions, but also some of the most exciting things that we're learning about the brain. And then this all culminates in an evening activity, which is a public lecture on the social brain. And we could come back to this later if you'd like, but we've all gone through a very trying year with the pandemic, where we've been subjected to social isolation and being away from family and friends. And we'd like to talk with everyone about the potential devastating consequences of that isolation, but more importantly, how we can now do better and get beyond the pandemic as life seems to be coming back to normal finally. Yeah, so the Brain Awareness Week activity was sponsored by the Dana Foundation, a New York foundation, starting 25 years ago. And it was founded as a way to teach the public about the brain. Mount Sinai has been having brain awareness activities throughout that time, but we have increasingly developed our programs, culminating in the Brain Fair, as you said, for the past 9 years. To me, there's nothing more important for society than the brain. If one looks at the causes of disability worldwide, one sees that brain disorders comprise 5 out of the top 10 causes of disease. I mean, that's a staggering statistic. There are estimates that 40% of all lost productivity for school-age students or for adults in their occupations is caused by mental illness. So that the consequences of brain on our health and lack of health are staggering. And so we feel that it is the highest priority for the public to understand the importance of brain health, how to recognize when things go wrong in the brain so that people can get the help they need. Yeah, well, so I consider myself a very lucky guy because I get to spend my life and career studying the brain. It's more of a hobby to me than it is a job. I still feel like a kid when I learn about the brain. There is no other organ that defines us as humans the way the brain does. And I think that kids can understand that and that we can help capture that notion for them, that the brain reflects, that their brain reflects who they are as an individual and the things that they feel, that they think about, that they can remember is what makes them human. And we have learned a tremendous amount about how the brain works under normal conditions and what goes wrong in the brain under various neurological and psychiatric conditions. And we think that it's very important for children of all ages to understand more about how the brain works. We know that virtually every family is touched by mental illness or by a neurological condition. Whether it's autism or Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, depression, epilepsy, and so on, we think it is absolutely critical for children to learn more about the brain. And not only is it important for them to learn about it, it should be fun, because understanding how the brain works is fun. This is what, I've devoted my career to, and I still get a kick out of learning something new about the brain, even at my age. Yeah, well, I'm just so impressed year by year by our graduate students and postdoctoral fellows for the hard work that they put into making this brain fair a reality. Under normal years, we would have 500 people show up in our facilities with filling up the atrium at Mount Sinai with all sorts of on-site activities, including a mega brain that kids can walk through and see about the inner workings of the brain. We're very sad that this year we have to do this virtually. So I want to, give the credit to our neuroscience graduate students and postdoctoral fellows all the more this year, because putting on the fair remotely, virtually, has taken even more work than usual. The students and postdocs have spent many hours, hundreds of hours collectively, to make the brain fair next week a resounding success. And they do this on top of their day jobs, right? The students and postdocs are at Mount Sinai to learn themselves about the brain and to do research, to teach the world something new about how the brain functions and what goes wrong in brain diseases. And yet they've taken time away from their work in order to contribute in this way to our local communities. So my hat off to them. I am enormously appreciative, and I'm also very confident that our community will love what they get to see online. My favorite thing about the brain is what I alluded to earlier, is imagining how a collection of cells and molecules, after all, the brain is not much different than skin or heart or liver or kidney or lung. It's a collection of cells and molecules. But somehow, when the brain cells and molecules come together, it can do things that are really astounding, like think and calculate and plan and feel and emote with our friends and family. The world's greatest computers can do things faster, more efficiently than the brain, but not the biggest, best computer in the world can come close to a single human brain in terms of approaching the emotion and intuition and induction reasoning that we know that a human brain is capable of. So just imagining how cells and molecules come together to do that is what I find most fascinating. Right, so we're going to have a lot of activities that will remain online and will be resources for parents and their children and school teachers to utilize throughout the course of the year. Online, we will have a series of lesson plans, particularly for younger students, for elementary school students. The brain dissections will remain online for older students. These will be available throughout the school year so that students can refer back to this material when they want to check up on a fact, or what does that brain region do again, and how does the brain think and feel. And some of the online lectures that we'll have will also be available to our students, parents, and teachers throughout the school year. And I also want to emphasize that the door remains open. That Brain Awareness Week is 1 week in March where we open the doors and put on these activities, but we have year-long ongoing activities for brain science and our local school children. And so we want to welcome students, parents, and their teachers to Mount Sinai on an ongoing basis throughout the year, so that as questions come up about the brain, we are here as a resource for them to help them learn more about this, well, my favorite organ of the body.